evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mihir Joshi, and welcome once again to the MJ Show. I hope you caught the episode that I did just a little while ago with Kavita ji. But if you didn't, you can see it tomorrow on the YouTube channel of the MJ Show. So you can definitely check it out over there. Good to see a lot of people have already joined in. Very soon, hopefully, I'll have my guest for today joining in. Hi Farhad, hi Kishore, hi Chinmay, hi Ramraj, and Fat to Fit Tail, and Fiat or Rohit is here. So good to see all of you here. But like I said, I have a very special guest joining in just a little while from now. I've spent the day pretty much listening to his songs, and man, I gotta tell you, this is some incredible stuff. And if you've not heard some of the things that he's done beyond what you get to see through his films and the mainstream stuff, you're really missing out on something. This is the album that they put out in 2015. I'm talking about the three people involved in this. There is, well, you know what, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this album, an album by a band called Ananthaal, in a little while. But let me introduce you to my guest for today. You've, of course, fallen in love with his song Madari, which was on Coke Studio. Then you fallen in love with a lot of his film projects that were there. You probably also follow him on YouTube, and you see some of the really cool covers that he's putting up with his new band, which is called Shor Police. But I think more than anything else, he's an incredible musician. He's an incredible composer, and he's a really cool singer. And I can see that he has just joined in right now. So let me bring... And ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the MJ Show, the absolutely fantastic Clinton Cerejo. Hey Clinton, how are you, man?
Hey, Mihir. Nice to be here.
Good to have you here finally. You know, we've been talking about getting you on the MJ Show. I can't even remember now how many years, because I complete 7 years in August. And I think I've been talking to you for at least 4 years about us meeting. And because of whatever, because you've been busy with your recordings and everything, I never got a chance to come and meet you at your studio. And it finally took a worldwide pandemic and a quarantine and lockdown at home for us to finally be able to chat with each other.
Keshav Dhar is here. Hey Keshav.
Hey Keshav, how are you?
What a cool musician he is.
That's awesome, man. So, you know what, speaking of cool musicians, let's talk about you first. And, whenever somebody comes on my show for the first time, I always start off with something called the origin story. By the way, it's not a mistake that I'm wearing a Beatles t-shirt right now, because one of the recent times when I did meet up with Clinton was at the launch of the movie, what was it called? Yesterday. It was at the premiere of Yesterday, which had an entirely Beatles soundtrack. And I know you're a big Beatles fan as well. So I thought, I'd wear my Beatles t-shirt today as a special sort of tribute to a band that we both love so much. But let me start with your origin. How did you get into music? Was music something that you were always into? Was that a path that you knew you were going to be taking for sure?
Well, frankly, music for me was... I had no clue I was going to be a musician, because I was very into... everything else. I was just having too much fun as a college kid. And but the thing is that while I was I never missed a day of college. I never ever went to class, so I was always hanging out in the canteen with my guitar, just playing songs and stuff like that. So it became a little obvious to me. I think only after my SY or TY, when I started, doing a few recordings, bunking college, going to recordings and that kind of thing. Because I was going to do my MBA. Actually, I studied for my MBA. I studied for the entrance exam, and it was really getting harder and harder for me to focus on my studies. And by then I just kind of took that call that let me give this a shot.
Okay, so you know what? Strangely enough, since you talked about sitting in your college canteen singing songs, what was the kind of music that you were into at that point of time? What were your influences? Who were the bands that you were listening to? What was the songs that you were singing at that point in time?
I was very into eclectic stuff even back then. Actually, I had a friend. You probably know him, Clint Valadares, who's director of Yeah, so we go back a long way. Clint Verdas and I go back like right because we grew up together, and he had just done his first or second semester at Berkeley, and he had come down with a whole bunch of CDs, maybe 200 CDs, and
Wow.
those CDs were all CDs that you could never ever find here, not even in Rhythm House. Like there was Steely Dan, there was Little River Band, there was Michael Franks. So the first time I heard all that music when I was in college, it just blew my mind. It kind of it just made my head explode in a way, and I was like, what is this stuff? ऐसा भी होता है. I can't even imagine music being like this. You know, and yeah. So that was the beginning of where it all went.
That's
Kavita
awesome,
ji,
man.
how are
Yeah,
you?
in fact, I
That's
was
interesting.
just chatting with her a little while ago at 8 o'clock, and I told her that I'm going to be with you at 9. It's lovely to see her back here
Right.
in this conversation as well. So,
Bhavya
yeah, you
Pandit
heard,
just joined
yes,
some time
Bhavya
back.
Pandit, a fantastic singer. I saw her join. I saw a couple of other people from the music industry
Bianca, I
also
think,
join
joined
in.
as well.
Bianca has joined in, and
She'll,
who
she'll,
else? Yeah, I saw a few musicians who've already joined in, people who are your fans and who've been loving your music for a very
some of them
long time.
are
Now,
amazing musicians as well.
who?
She's a lovely musician as well, lovely composer.
Oh, awesome, awesome, man. But
She's
okay,
she's
so
very
let me get back to you in a little way. So you heard a lot of different kinds of music. You knew that okay, this is something that is interesting you, especially towards, like you said, towards your third year and all that. What was the first time that you did something professionally with music, where you recorded something and you put it out and you got like paid for it? What was that first assignment that you did?
that would be when I was in the 11th standard, actually,
Okay.
because so that would be 93. The
Oh wow. Okay.
Siddharth Haldipur, Siddharth and I were in college together. So we
Okay.
literally were like we shared a bench in the 11th
Okay.
standard,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and he was yeah, his dad was obviously Amar Haldipur, was a legendary arranger at that time. Has been uh, you know how many musicians have kind of passed out under his baton, and so I would go to Siddharth's place just to play the piano because he had a lovely grand piano at home.
Nice.
So after college, we would take the bus, and I would just head to his place, and I would just play piano for some time and sing just by myself, not even bother. I said, like, I just tell Siddharth, you go do your thing, just let me play this piano. So his dad obviously would be around. A couple of times his dad was around, and his dad said, I'm going to make you sing a song one day. Like,
Nice.
and he kept his word. He gave me a song in a Marathi film called Mukta.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it was an English song in a Marathi film because it was a film about you know um, African American who comes to a village in India and falls in love with a girl from a Indian village, and so I sang an English song, which is a song that was picturized on him,
Oh, very
and
cool.
was a very R&B song. I still remember Suleiman programmed drums, and
Oh, oh,
Sandeep Shirodkar was programming keys, and we did it at Brij Bhushan studio called
that's
Madhudwani
amazing.
in on Hill Road in Bandra. That was the
I-
first time
I-
I ever saw the inside of a studio. The first time I ever saw the inside of a studio, and that film went on to win a national award.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, but of
Is
course I
that
never did.
video? Is that track on YouTube? Is it there? Can
I
people hear
haven't seen
that?
it on YouTube. No, I haven't. I actually haven't looked for it. Maybe it might be there.
Do you remember at least a line of that song?
I just remember the girl's name was Eliza. So, and it was composer was this man called Anand Modak, who I think passed away.
Okay.
But but
Hey, Vijay Prakash is here. Good to see him, man.
hey Vijay, yeah. So man, you're making me sing now. Vijay just joined, and you're making me sing.
No, no. See, listen. It's an understood thing that if a singer of any sort comes on my show, I'm gonna get them to sing at least a little bit. So you should. I'm sorry if I didn't prepare you for this earlier in the day, but that's guaranteed. So I gotta hear you sing a little bit. And whenever I hear about the first song, that's something that I definitely want to hear.
So I think it's Eliza, 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 Eliza. I just remember that part. Eliza, Eliza.
Qualifies. I asked for one line and you gave me one line, so it worked. But you know what? So that was the start of your journey into professional music. But so what was the next step after that? You know, where you created. I mean, you made. Did you decide to form a band? Did you want to create like a band
Sorry,
for yourself and
these
get into the?
comments are distracting me. Bhavya Pandit says yes. Bianca says sing. So everyone's like, everyone's asking me to sing. But
Vijay Prakash is saying I'm waiting. So listen, by the way, for everybody watching right now, I told Clinton something. This is part one of my episode with Clinton, where I want to focus on Clinton and his journey. And he's got, like I showed you a little while ago before he joined in, this is the band which features Vijay Prakash, Bianca, who you can see in the comments here, and Clinton. Now, I have very strong feelings about this band, which I expressed to Clinton earlier in the afternoon. I love the band, by the way. Before you think anything else, I love this band. And I want to spend a lot of time dissecting this band, the music, and everything that they've done. And Clinton has a new band now, well, a new project called Shore Police, which we'll talk about briefly over here. We'll talk about this also briefly. But I'm going to get Bianca, Vijay Prakash, and Clinton hopefully together in another episode, which will happen next week. It'll be at 8 p.m. slot, and we'll do that entire hour with just the three of them. And I can guarantee that is not an episode you want to miss. But right now, don't distract him because I want to talk to him about him right now. All right. So Clinton, let's get back to you. So after doing like a little bit of work professionally, what was your next step? What did you want to do?
So for a long time, nothing much happened. But then I, realized that I didn't really have the versatility, to be a singer, because I did a few recordings here and there. I remember Ehsan calling me for one jingle. I remember Les calling me for another jingle, and I realized that I didn't have a versatile voice. So I was maybe too focused on R&B or maybe just one genre. I just felt that I didn't have what it takes to be a jingle singer. Because you have to sing a rock jingle one day, a Bollywood jingle the next day, and that kind of thing. And at the same time, I was always interested in whatever was going on behind the vocals. So I was always interested in, arrangements, production, that kind of thing. So I began to focus more on that. Took a loan, bought my first keyboard, and
What was it?
just took it. It was a Roland XP80. Yeah, and I decided that I wanted it to be that keyboard because there was one box in which you had a tone generator, you had a sequencer, you had everything. So I said, you know what, I'm like a complete technophobe. If I find everything in one box and I have everything I need to make music in this one box, and I can figure it out. So that's where it started, and then I started buying boxes and boxes. I mean, just till I had a wall of gear, and then after that, of course, once Logic took over, then plugins came in, and everyone's rig got smaller again. But yeah.
That's you decided, okay, you want to get into the composition aspect of things more than being the singer up front. I mean, so what was your first project as a composer that you worked on? Was it a film project directly, or did you start with jingles as well?
No, jingles. I did a lot of jingles. I mean, I think I've been composing jingles from 99 or 2000, and that was thankfully because of Juku Rajat Dholakya, the man who's everyone in the jingle industry knows and reveres so much. I owe him so much. He's somebody who I would say that one of the most underrated musicians in the country. But he writes tunes that the whole country will remember. Like Pepsi's "Ye Dil Mange More" was his, for example. And yeah, I think I remember the first time he called me for a job to program. Hey Alap, how are you doing, man? Good to see you here. Yeah, so I went with all my gear. It was a digital domain, I still remember. And I don't think I impressed him very much because he never called me back for one whole year after that.
Oh wow,
And I
okay.
was like, you know, I was, you know what, I don't, but he used to do like three jingles a day at that time. He used to book three
Wow.
studios and have like three programmers working at, you know, at like in different studios, and he would be shuttling between, you know, the two or between the three. So I said, I have to get in with this guy anyhow, you know. So I worked for a year, worked my ass off for a year, and then I asked Kunal, Ganjawala, we were like
Ganjawala,
buddies,
yeah.
and uh, he was you know, like nice enough to tell Juku, you know, just call Clinton back. He really wants you to call him back for one job. And you know, I know you worked with him 1 year ago. You were not happy, but he's like really worked up. He's worked hard, and you know, give him a shot. And that's when he called me back. I remember it was a Nivea commercial. It was in Galactica B, Studio B, and we never looked back after that. Yeah, I did that one jingle for him, and after that, over the next 1 year and 8 months, or 1 year and 9 months, we did almost like close to 500 films together.
Whoa, man,
We
500
would do
jingles.
yeah, we would do like two ads a day, you know, on an average
Damn.
day. On an average day, I mean, mostly we would do one, but sometimes we would do two. We would finish one at 7 and then start one more film from 7 to like 3 in the morning, and
That is
every day,
insane.
6 days a week. I mean, I'm literally telling you that I used to go home. I used to use my house as a hotel in those days,
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
yeah. So we were doing like slamming it like 25, 30 jingles a month.
That's crazy. So, of all those jingles that you made, over 500 jingles, can you think of one for you which was really memorable? Like you thought when it came out that, man, this was great work. I'm proud of it. I'd stand behind because, I was just telling Leslie, he was on my show a few days ago, and some of these jingles, especially from about a few 10, 15 years ago, they're still as popular today as they were back then. Like they are almost nostalgic for a lot of people, where people listen to that, like a fruity mango fruity or whatever. You think of those as little songs that you heard when you were a teenager or a kid. So was there a jingle like that for you, which was like super memorable for you?
So that of course came years later when I composed the Blackberry Boys jingle. It was I think one jingle that a lot of people don't know I composed it, but everybody sings that tune. If you ask them now, you know, where the Blackberry Boys, everyone remembers it. You
Correct.
know, that's definitely one. And another one I want to mention at this point is a jingle called which I actually had done for for a telecom brand, and that
Okay.
jingle got bounced. And years later, I used the first 30 seconds of that jingle in a song, in a Coke Studio song, and that jingle became Moji Nena.
Oh wow, how
Yeah,
cool.
and
So what,
yeah,
it got
and
it got rejected.
Bianca had sung that jingle for me. We had done it
Okay.
with Miku at at Galactica, the first floor studio, Galactica, and that's when and the director, Sujat, he completely loved it, and um, the unfortunately the agency didn't like it and it got bounced, and it was just lying on my hard disk for a year. And when I was missing that sixth song in Coke Studio, and I pulled that jingle out, and we then I then started working further on it, and it became this epic track. And the same guy who bounced it, he met me in the studio for a job after Coke Studio, after my episode release. He said, dude, that song Moji Nana, it's epic and it's crazy. And I said, but do you remember that tune? Does that tune ring a bell? He says, yeah, actually it does sound familiar that you mention it. And I said, well, it's the same jingle that you bounced. But
Man, that is
I mean,
amazing.
yeah, sometimes the destiny of a melody is bigger than what it can be, and it's really nice sometimes what life does to you.
That's pretty cool, man. But speaking of Coke Studio, I earlier today I shared a link of yeah, I know. I mean, Bianca is saying burn in the biggest possible way, right? That was. I mean, I would have loved to be in that room when that conversation happened. That would have been absolutely epic. It should have been captured on camera. But no, no. I was saying, speaking of Coke Studio, earlier today I shared the song that you did with Vishal and Sonu Kakkar. which was, of course, I think it's become like, I think Vishal probably sings that song more than any of his other film songs and everything that he does, because I keep seeing even in his live videos, like every third request that he gets is like, sir, please sing Madari. And he's like, bhai, kitne baar Madari gaoge mujhse? So, that's
True.
become like one of
True.
those, it's like,
Yeah,
if you did a gig right now, also, it's your Hotel California in a way. Like, if you were the Eagles, you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
get off
True. Totally,
without
totally.
singing
It's
Hotel
like
California.
sometimes I feel like when people say we love Madari, and I'm like, kuch aur to bolo yaar. I mean, like, just say one more, just say anything else but that song. It's,
No, but I can imagine. I think all creative geniuses who create that one song which really connects with the audiences must get fed up of it at the end of the day, because you'll be like, भाई मैंने और 400 गाने किए हैं और 500 जिंगल के, एक तो कुछ और सोचो. Think of something beyond the one song that you know of. But that also goes to show how much people love it, because not every creator, not every composer has that one song which connects with an audience in such a way that it becomes their identity. Like a Summer of '69 is for Brian Adams, or like I said, California for the Eagles. It's amazing that you've got a song so early in your career where you can say that this is gonna be my song, which even when I'm 65 years old, if I go up on stage, people will be like, Sir Madari, once again, Sir Madari. But that's really, really cool, man. And so I just
yeah.
shared it today, and Sonu Kakkar also shared it, saying that she also evidently absolutely loved that song. So I think on behalf of everybody who's watching in right now and who will see this video later. By the way, speaking of which, I'm not telling all of you guys, in case you came in late and you feel like you missed out a part of the interview.
Uh,
Of course,
there's
it's going to
someone
be here.
there's
Sorry,
someone
what
called
do you say?
Nitish. There's someone called Nitish who's said life sahi hai, tension nahi hai. That's from Pyar Ka Panchnama, one of my songs from Pyar Ka Panchnama. He's like genuinely remembering all the obscure ones, which is good.
No, I was actually looking at your so you've worked on a lot of films as well. 1 minute. Let me finish what I was saying. In case you came in late, you can watch this episode tomorrow on the YouTube channel of the MJ Show, in which I'm going to give you a link to Clinton's channel, which you should definitely be subscribed to. If you're not already subscribed to Clinton's channel, you're making a massive mistake, because he's got some incredible songs there. And Shore Police is something that we're going to be talking about. They're going to be putting out. You got a new song coming out this week, right? I mean, the week that's coming up.
We actually have you heard it here first. we are doing a
Yes.
we are doing an Ananthaal lockdown reunion.
Oh, that is cool, man. That is super cool. And when are you looking at putting that out?
That's the one that's coming out in a week.
Next week. Superb. So you know what? We're going to be planning that episode that I told you, the
And
Ananthaal
I
episode
know
that I want to do.
who's going to be happiest listening to this is Shishir,
Who?
who's on also Shishir, who's watching this. He's a massive Ananthal fan, and he's probably watching this chat right now.
No, but
So
you know
yeah,
what?
this is for
I'm also a huge Ananthaal fan, and the day that these guys are going to be releasing that track on the YouTube channel, let's get them back here and we'll talk to. There, Shishir just lost his mind. We'll talk to Clinton, we'll talk to Bianca, and we'll talk to Vijay Prakash, and we'll get them to talk about their experience in making this, in my opinion, an extremely underrated and extremely brilliant album. Like, everybody in India should be hearing this, but I have a feeling that it's still not reached the kind of visibility that it should get. So everybody watching right now, if there's an Ananthal song that you've heard, take this as my request to all of you. Share it on your WhatsApp, share it on your Facebook page, put it up as a swipe up link on Instagram, do whatever you have to, but share Ananthal songs. Like you share random other videos that come to you, please share Ananthal songs, because more and more and more people need to be hearing this music. So we got to get deeper into Ananthal in that second part, which I want to do with the three of them. But right now, let's talk about your film music. Let's talk about somebody just requested a little while ago that they really loved Mehram, which was in Kahani too, right?
Mehram. Mehram was Kahani too. Yes.
And I think you gave not only the background score for that, but you also composed all the songs in
Yes.
that.
Also the songs. Yes.
So,
And I mean, I love working with Sujoy. He's such a amazing energy. He's one of those guys who uh, he's very very always in the moment, I would say. So it's great fun working with him. I remember during Kahani 1, the actual when doing the score of Kahani 1, I scored one scene, only one scene. Huh? He was stuck on, the scene where Vidya's putting on her sari, the first part of the film, and she's, kind of thinking about everything that's happening in her life at that point. And um, uh, that scene I scored 9 times because he wanted to feel claustrophobic. He said, I want to feel claustrophobic when I hear this music. And no matter what I was doing, he was not feeling claustrophobic. So I was like, Sujoy, how do I make you feel claustrophobic? I'm going to like now suffocate you while I'm playing the music. I mean, there's no other way because I've run out of options. Like, I really don't know what to do. And then, I just called Dilshad and, I asked Dilshad to play Sarangi and I asked him to play something that would, make me feel really, really depressed, and he just played something that was so beautiful. And I called Sujoy back to the studio and made him hear it, and he was finally feeling claustrophobic. That was, what I mean. So things like that. It just music is so you know that it's like sometimes it's in the air. You need to just catch it. Like you don't know if you can reach out your hand and you can either catch something or you it like will pass you by.
Well, you worked on quite a few films, either on the background score or even as a composer, and you worked with some fantastic singers who've sung for you. I still remember that video that you put up of Sonu Nigam coming to your studio and singing. That's on your YouTube channel. I think that was amazing to see you work with some. I think on Mehram you had Arijit Singh, right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
you
Arijit.
worked with you had some fantastic singers who sung for your songs on films. If I had to ask you about one truly memorable experience working with somebody for a Bollywood film, what would that be?
I think it would be working with Mr. Bachchan, and for him, for me to do Anna. I have to tell you guys this story. I've never ever said this. I mean, in public again, but it's very interesting. So I composed this song and uh, I composed this song and Ribu was I mean for me if you see the character of the that Mr. Bachchan was playing in theme, it was this 70-year-old man whose granddaughter goes missing and he's like completely his spirit is completely broken. So I composed it in a key that would be a little high for him. It wasn't like his usual baritone. And my wife Dominique, when she heard it, you know, she said, "Doesn't it feel a little high for Mr. Bachchan? Not high, but it doesn't feel like it would be in its comfort zone." And but I said, "No, let me just see. Let me check it out." And I remember going to his house and playing him the track, and he loved the track. And he kind of I did a rehearsal with him. So I said, let me just get you comfortable with the song and all that. And maybe then we did the recording. And then I said, okay, now let me finish the song and let me just mix it down and whatever, and I'll send her the once I'm done with it. So when I sent her the mix, I get a call the next day from the director, from Ribu, and Ribu says, Clinton, I said, ha man, kya bol raha hai? What's happening? And he says, Amit ji wants to talk to you. I'm in his house. So Amit ji comes on the line and he says, Clinton, and I said, hi sir, how are you? And I hope you heard the song. And I said, I heard the song. I'm thinking we should lower the key. Should we lower the key? Um, and I was like, at that point, I remember, I just thought of, what my wife had said to me. She said, this is the most recognized baritone in the country.
Correct.
Don't screw this one up. You can screw anything else up, but don't screw this one up. So he said, I think that we should give it another shot. I'll book the studio again tomorrow. Let's do another pass tomorrow. Let's drop the key. So you know what I said, sir. Then it will be Amitabh Bachchan singing the song. It won't be Bob Biswas singing the song. And he was like, there was silence on the other end of the line. I was like, what did I just say? But but you know what? He's such a consummate professional. He says, okay, you know what? I trust you. If you're that convinced about it, I'll go with your gut. And he decided. And but the best part, and this is why I respect him so much, is when we were at the press conference, he stood up and in front of all those journalists who were expecting him to like, because we were going to premiere the song, and the whole room was filled with journalists. He stood up and he said, I am going to tell you something. Uh, you are going to hear the voice of a man who is broken in spirit, whose granddaughter has gone missing, and I want you to hear it with that in mind. You will not be hearing me as you ever heard me before. And
Wow.
there was not a dry eye in that whole room. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. Even, like, it was
Oof.
unbelievable. It was crazy.
Man, I wish you could see this, but I've got goosebumps right now with your story, man. What an incredible story.
So yeah, I mean, that's Mr. Bachchan for you.
That's fantastic. What an incredible story. But you know what? So this is what, like I said, today I just wanted to focus a little bit on some of your, because if we
Vibha
sit
is here
down,
as well. Hey Vibha.
hey Vibha, how are you? So like I said, there are so many incredible stories to talk about. We've not even scratched the surface because there is this band, like I said, Ananthaal, which you made, and this needs a complete episode by itself. I cannot do justice to it by just briefly talking about it for 2-3 minutes with Clinton, nor can I do justice to Shore Police because I shared one song with you guys today earlier in the day on my story. I shared a version of Channa Mereya, and what was the English song with it? Forgive my memory, man. I have the worst memory in the world. What's the English song that you did with
I
it?
feel it coming.
I feel it come. So so those two songs, like you've never heard them before. Bianca is, in my opinion, one of the finest singers I've ever heard. Like she's spot on every time. But I love what Clinton does with Channa Mireya as well in that. So before I wrap up for today, can you tell us a little bit about what Shore Police is, and we'll go into detail on that second episode that we'll do just in the next week.
So I mean, as I've told you when we were chatting earlier in the afternoon, Shore Police is essentially a kind of departure from the fusion stuff that I've been doing, and it's a much more pop. It's what I actually kind of grew up listening to in terms of just being this pop musician. And Bianca is completely pop as well, and she's as a composer, she's got this ability to write these very 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 hooky ideas. So it's great because sometimes I tend to overcomplicate stuff, you know, so when we write together, it's an interesting combination.
That's awesome. So, before you leave, I got you to sing the very first thing you ever recorded. Can I get you to sing at least one line of something recent that you've recorded? Could be a track that you've done with Shore Police. So it doesn't need to be your song, but something that you feel like ending this
Uh,
part of our episode with.
let's
Do you
get
have
my
your guitar
guitar.
around you?
Yeah, I do answer.
Yeah. So, while he gets the guitar, thank you to everybody who's joined in right now. Thank you to everybody who loves Shore Police. I love Shore Police too. So, yeah, Kya Karu from Wake Up Sid, song request by Preet Rodriguez. I don't know how you pronounce your last name. And Bianca, listen, I've got nothing but love for you. Seriously, I can't wait to get all three of you together. I know it'll happen one by one because that's what Instagram allows me to do. But here's another promise to you, Bianca, and to Vijay Prakash, that whenever this lockdown gets done, I'll get all three of you together sitting side by side so that we can talk together. But next week, we'll do this Instagram live thing once again. But now that the guitar's here, what are we listening to?
I'm gonna sing the song that I actually recorded with Newman, who's also a fabulous musician. I don't know if you heard it. It was called Alone, and it completely reflects. Newman happens to be Bianca's husband, but
Oh,
that's not how
awesome.
I want to introduce him. He's a fabulous musician in his own right and a really lovely singer and very quiet. One of the most honest voices I know, and I'm going to sing this song that kind of reflects what everybody's going through in the lockdown. Because when you're locked down, when you're in a situation where you cannot do anything about, anything about anything, you cannot do anything about stuff. What it does is it makes you confront those parts of yourself, and makes you deal with situations. But what you're actually dealing with is your own feelings, about a situation. What you're actually dealing with is your own fears. You're dealing with your own, frustration, and learning how to cope. So this song is called Alone. So much bigger than me. It's not a hard thing to see. I wonder if you disagree. Then again, I've been feeling this since God knows when. And I won't shed a tear on the ground. No, I won't shed a tear, 'cause we share the same fears, and they're so much bigger, so much bigger than me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See the writing on the wall in the twilight of the dawn. All these apprehensions throw shadows in the hall. You'll never notice when they're almost gone. And I won't shed a tear on the ground. No, I won't shed a tear, 'cause we share the same fears, and they're so much bigger, so much bigger than me. No, I won't shed a tear on the ground. No, I won't shed a tear, 'cause we share the same fears, and they're so much bigger, so much bigger.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to see what I've got on my big screen over there. That's Clinton Cerejo's YouTube channel. You can see I'm subscribed to it. You got to go and subscribe to it right now and follow the man on Instagram. Listen, without a doubt, one of the finest composers, and I'm saying this to you with all my love and respect for you, man. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I can't wait to talk to you again in a few days. I'm not even waiting for the lockdown to end. Next week, when you decide to finally release that Ananthaal jam that you want to put out, let's talk maybe on the day itself or a day after that. But let's talk about Ananthaal. Let's talk a little bit more about Shor Police.
And
And
let's
for
get
everybody,
Vijay and
let's
Biggs
get
as
Vijay
well.
and Bianca. And listen, for everybody who's asked for songs, who made requests, which we could not satisfy today, I promise you I'll make that happen that day, because that day it's going to be one complete hour until Instagram tells me, it gives me that little time at the end of an hour, it gives you 20 seconds to go. Until I get that, I'm not going to let Clinton go. That's my promise to you guys. But Clinton, thank you so much for today and for chatting with me.
Thank you, man.
Let's get back
This was
tomorrow.
great
I mean,
fun.
let's get back
And
next week.
thank you everybody. Thank you Bhavya, Vibha, Shishir, Vijay, B, Naomi, everyone who's watching. Siddhant Kaushal, what a great lyricist, and who's also contributed to so many songs in the Anantha album. Uh, Siddhant is also here. Hey man, so there's a lot of people who I love very dearly, and a very, very big part of my musical journey. Thank you to each and every one of you who've been watching.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, Clinton. I'm looking forward to chatting with you again, and I'm genuinely looking forward to meeting you once this lockdown is over. There are so many people that I realize I want to meet, and I've been procrastinating before the lockdown, and now that this enforced solitude has happened, it made me realize that I should not be putting things for later. So let's make
Off.
sure we meet up for
Done.
sure once the
Done.
lockdown's
We'll
done.
do that.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Cheers.
So, this is all the time that I had for Clinton for today. But waiting, waiting right now is another phenomenal musician. I had the pleasure of meeting her at the Universal Music office a few days ago, and she is here with us, ladies and gentlemen. Say
Hello,
hello to the
everyone.
absolutely lovely Lisa Mishra. Lisa, good to have you here.
Yeah, Mihir, long time no see. Since last year, I haven't seen you.
I know when you released that song with Vishal at the
Hmm.
Universal Music office, we came and did the launch for that,
You
and
you
that
hosted
song's
the premiere, yeah,
exactly,
which was
and that was
fantastic.
that was that was fantastic. And listen, congratulations on your new song, Nahi Chaida.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking
How
at
do you
it
like
right
it?
now. I loved it. And check that out, guys. I'm again flipping the screen. That's the song there. It's a viral original song. It released one day ago, and it's already got like 3.3 million views, guys. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. So, congratulations on the love that
Thank
you're
you very
getting from
much.
people for that song. But tell us a little bit about the song. Let's get into that song. Let's find out a little bit more about how you went about making that song.
Of course, someone in the audience has asked, "Who is she?" I'll introduce myself. So I'm Lisa Mishra. I'm a singer, and the song "Nahi Chahida" that we just released is. We wanted to make a song for a long time that was, I'm so used to doing happy and upbeat songs, and whereas I mostly sing sad songs, so I had this personal goal of spending the time and cracking the correct best like sad emotional track, not in like a businessy way, but I think that emotionally it's something that I've always wanted to do, musically. So we were sitting and working on this track, and we thought it would just make sense to picturize it against my own life. Um, so the video is a pretty close to reality,
Oh, wow.
bit of when I transitioned from living in Chicago and then moving to Bombay. So this one was about long distance relationships and letting go of things in your past while you evolve and move on to a new phase of your life.
That's beautiful. And you composed the song by yourself. Did you write the words as well, or did you have
No, so
somebody working with you on
the
that?
composition was me, but the words were written by Kunal Verma, who's of course, legend in his own right. He's just done such incredible work. And I feel like every song Kunal writes is better than the last. So this will be his best song for about 2 months before we hear the next great one from him. I think honestly I do believe it's some of his best words, and I'm just lucky that I have gotten to work with him. Like last time we got lucky because we got to work with Vishal, of course, and his compositional and writing ability is so strong. And this time to work with Kunal just makes the experience grow and get bigger every time.
That's beautiful. So, for everybody watching in right now, can you maybe, I can see you got your guitar on your lap. So, can we hear a little bit of Night Ida right now? Oh, by the way,
Yeah, of course, of course.
wait, before you sing, I got to congratulate you and you and Vishal for being a part of that massive worldwide concert that happened, which had like Paul
Yeah,
McCartney and like the
insane.
biggest legends in the world. Like I'm wearing a Beatles T-shirt right now, as you can clearly see, and you were there on that gig, and the world saw you and Vishal sing in that. You represented India. That was fantastic,
Of
and
course.
congratulations on that. I think
And I
it's
mean,
really really
that
cool
was
that you got to do
honestly a
that.
dream because for me to be alongside those artists, like Stevie Wonder played that day, Elton John played, Celine Dion. It wild, absolutely wild. So there's legendary people, and then there's people who are my contemporaries in other parts of the world. Who again, I'm just honored to have been on a roster with like Billie Eilish and Charlie Puth and these incredible young musicians as well. So very honored and very grateful for being able to represent India in that lineup, which was just a dream come true. Absolutely.
And before you sing the song, I also want to understand. You told me that the song is melancholic. It's a sad song, and it kind of resonates with you and your life. But for people who do not understand maybe the language, it's in Punjabi.
It's in
Nahi
full
Chahega?
Punjabi. Yeah.
It's in full Punjabi. So for people who
Yeah.
don't understand the lyrics, can you just break it down a little bit before you sing it? What were the words specifically about?
Yeah. So the first verse is Na Kanu De Meri Saw Hanju, which is, don't, give me 100 tears to cry. Um, Tenu dunya chahidi aur mainu tu. Of course, that means, the you want the entire world and all I've got eyes for is you. Ho gayi main bhi tu. I mean, I've just become lost in you. Ab rahi mujh mein na main tera. That main zara. So I have nothing of myself left. I'm all about you and us. And is ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਸਿਵਾ, which is probably the easiest to understand for Hindi speakers, referring to I want nothing else in this entire world but you.
But
And
you.
strangely, we made this song keeping a long distance relationship and communicating digitally in mind about 5 days before the country went into this lockdown.
Wow.
The video was shot ended shooting on February 29th. And then as of March, we started seeing the entire world kind of shut down in phases. And it's so bizarre to watch this video that we'd sort of created with a very different idea in mind, but now it becomes so relevant. Especially the visual has become very relevant. Two people having a hard time, communicating across time zones and for various reasons. And that's like everybody's lived reality right now. Is how I'm communicating with you is via screen. So it's very eerie that we released this song and this is the time that we're all in.
Yeah, man, it's just a completely relevant song in multiple ways right now. So many people who have been forced into long distance relationships right now, even if they are probably just few kilometers away from each other. I mean,
isn't that so strange?
That is so strange. I mean, this is the craziest time that you and I, for instance, I'm assuming we are, even if not exactly the same age, we're about a few years apart. I don't think in our generation, in our lifetime, we've experienced anything remotely close to what we are experiencing right now. It's the most bizarre time of our life.
Yeah. No, it's super strange. The whole experience is bizarre for not just us, anyone living on Earth right now of any age.
That's true.
This is just so strange. Nothing of this level has happened. So making a song about missing somebody you love is relevant for people who are in love, is relevant for parents who are living away from kids, from doctors who can't see their families because they can't come home. It's just so bizarre. And we've had a few of our fans send in video messages to their loved ones, and we're going to start rolling them out in the next few days, which was unplanned. But some beautiful, beautiful messages from people whose parents are working, as part of shipment. We actually don't realize this, that there's a lot of people who work for our Indian Navy who are in merchant shipments for essential goods around the world. So somebody told me that their dad is one of them who is traveling around the world delivering essential goods to other countries, neighboring countries, and
Wow.
They can't come home, and they're safer on a ship. Actually, they're being told to not come on land right now. So it's just so weird how relevant this has become. And she submitted that. There's doctors who submitted stories of being away from their children because they're not allowed to come into contact with their families right now. It's just strange. But
It is.
maybe some words of comfort for them. This song can become that. I don't know.
Well, let's hear it. I'd love to hear a little bit of it right now.
Yeah, of course. Na khanu de meri sahanju tenu duniya chahidi mainu tu har tarah tu wafa meriya chahle आज़मा हुण मैनू कुछ नहीं चाहिदा सोहणिया तेरे सिवा हुण मैनू कुछ नहीं चाहिदा सोहणिया तेरे सिवा हुण मैनू कुछ नहीं चाहिदा सोहणिया तेरे सिवा हुण मैनू कुछ नहीं चाहिदा सोहणिया.
That was beautiful. That was really, really nice. So for that one idiot who asked you who you are, you got at least 1,000 other people who are telling you how much they love you. And coincidentally enough, strangely enough, I'm the one who most often gets that. It's my show. You can see that I'm on the top, and people ask me, "Bhai, ye kaun hai? Ye kyun questions पूछ रहा है मेरे favorite singer को?" Bhai, You're on our Instagram handles. Find out a little bit about us. Don't ask stupid questions like that. But listen,
Look,
if you
as
didn't
much as
know,
technology is helping us all communicate right now, technology also breeds the most hilarious internet trolls. So we
that
got we
is
have to
true.
balance both.
That is true. No, but listen. If any of you who follow me are seeing her today, and I don't know which rock you were living under, but if you were seeing her today for the first time, if you didn't know who she was, and if you didn't know her voice before, you know now. That is the incredible Lisa Mishra. Her new
Thank you so
song "Nahi
much, Mihir.
Chayda" is on Viral Originals. Listen, this video stays on Instagram for like some 24 hours, but the video goes up on the YouTube channel of the MJ Show. Go and subscribe to that because you can see the video the moment it comes out. And I'm going to give you a link in the description below to Lisa's new song and also
Yeah.
to her old song, which I met her for the first time, which was almost about a year ago. So I'm going to give you a link to both the songs. And you know what? I got to say something for everybody at Viral. And I'm not saying this because they asked me to, and they didn't ask me to at all. They've been really sweet and they've just been very nice to bring all their artists on my show whenever they've got a new song out. I genuinely appreciate what you guys are doing. Viral for everybody at Universal Music.
Yeah.
I really, really love what you guys are doing, not just for the artists that you've got signed on, but for artists who'll join you in the years to come. It's great to see great non-film music being made in India
And
for people
exclusively
like
non-film, as
exclusively
opposed to,
non-film.
half non-film, half film. It's the only one that's doing this work.
Exactly. So, Viral, you got all my love and support always. Keep making new songs, and I'm more than happy to talk about them here on the show. But Lisa, thank you so much for joining me here right now.
Thank you so
I
much.
think, we need to do a more elaborate episode because even the last time we met, we just spoke,
I
like
know, just for a few
little
few minutes after that.
just for a few minutes about a song. So, let's reconnect after this.
Of
I'm already
course.
following you. Follow me here on Instagram. Let's connect and let's see how
Absolutely.
we can meet up once the lockdown's done and do a more elaborate episode talking about your
Agreed,
life,
agreed.
about your journey, and all sorts of things that you've been up to. Let's
And you were
end this
such a
episode.
great host that last time too. So I'm always down to come and, have a longer chat, of course.
Thank you. Let's do that for sure. What I'm saying is, before we end this episode, let's get you to sing one more song for everybody watching in. Can you? So,
Yeah.
I've been seeing a whole bunch of requests, but I'm going to give it up to you right now. It doesn't even need to be a Lisa Mishra song. Would you like to sing a song which encapsulates how everybody should be feeling? Let's do a positive song. Nahi Chahida was, like you
Sure.
said, a melancholic, sad song. Let's
Yeah,
end it
yeah,
with a
of course.
positive song. And
I would
I also,
actually,
before you,
yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm interrupting you just to say one thing. I saw a lot of people requesting earlier also when Clinton was around for something for Irfan Khan. A little while ago, I had Kavita ji at 8 p.m. And she
Mm.
sang a beautiful song for Irfan Khan. And I know the whole world, whole country is grieving for him right now. As artists, as people who create content, uh, I know how much of an impact that man had. So even if we don't sing a song right now specifically for him, please know that I feel that loss that the whole country is feeling right now. If you look at the Instagram feed right now, all the musicians,
This
the
is
actors,
this
the
is an
directors, everybody's
insurmountable
putting up.
loss.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
insurmountable loss, and we all feel that. But I believe that even he would want us to stay positive in these times, and he would want us to have a smile on our face right now because that's what he always brought through his performances and through his incredible work. So, which is why I
Yeah.
said let's end with a positive song, rather than
Of course.
another, sad song because we miss him. I think let's celebrate his life by giving people something to smile about.
Of course. And I mean, I actually do think the song that you helped us host last year is a great one to end on. Sajna is such a beautiful romantic song. And really, it's the same one that there's a reason during Global Citizen I dedicated it to all the people who are missing somebody, but in a positive way. Like, there's a good way to also talk about this distance. And if you fondly remember somebody, you have a lot of love for somebody. It doesn't have to always be so sad and so grim. So I would love to do Sajna, of course.
Let's go.
Mhm. है क्या पता पता क्या दिल बुने सुनाए जो तेरी कहानियाँ आंखें कभी छुपाती है कभी दिखाती है तेरी निशानियाँ कोई बात ऐसी है नहीं जिसमें बात तेरी हो नहीं, तेरे ख्वाब लेके जागे हैं हर सुबह। ओ खुदाया मन ये मेरा कैसे तू मुस्काए, ओ खुदाया अक्स तेरा मुझको है छू जाए। ओ सजना, ओ सजना वे, 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 सजना वे।
That was fantastic. That was absolutely
Thank you so
beautiful.
much.
Listen, everybody watching, and if you are not already following Lisa Mishra on Instagram, do that right now. Subscribe to Viral Originals because they've got some great songs out there. You should be checking out their entire. You know what? Anyway, you're sitting at home, you need a playlist. Put on the Viral Music channel and
It's
put out
all
their
so
entire
good.
playlist. It's all so good. Listen to the songs one by one and enjoy yourselves. And you know what, Lisa? You mentioned an artist that I really love a little while ago, Elton John, who also performed in that humongous gig. Hey, my wife is there, Neha, and she said thanks right now, and she said thanks for this beautiful song that you just sang, and also
Oh
for
wow.
Clinton stuff. And I generally make it a point not to mention her, but for a change, with my baby boy, he's probably gone out to sleep right now. She's here and watching both my episodes today. So, it's great to
Oh,
have
so
her here. So,
amazing.
yeah, he's gone out to sleep. He got knocked out today. He's like out by 7:15 itself. So she's had the time to sit and watch. But hey, thank you, Neha, for being here. Thank you for everyone who's here from all across the world. I can see somebody here from Pakistan, somebody was here from Nepal, from Bangladesh. So for everybody from all around the world, thank you very much for joining us today. What I was saying, Elton John, the reason I was bringing it up is he had a beautiful song called Sad Songs Say So Much. And here are some of the words from that. I have the worst memory, so I put it up in front of me. They reach into your room, just feel their gentle touch. When all hope is gone, sad songs say so much. I think that's the most beautiful thing that you could say about sad songs. And at a time when we need good music, it's awesome that you came out with a song like Nahi Chahida. So thank you, Lisa, for being
Yeah.
here with me and for making that song.
Thank you so much for hosting me, Mihir, and we must meet after this is all over. Because you're right, I caught
Absolutely.
the end of your discussion with Clinton, and I think, we all say this, and it almost feels like we can no longer live in a world of false promises. We just have to realize that we have to
Yeah.
commit to seeing people and meeting people, because God knows anything else like this happens, you don't want to be away from people that you wish you had seen.
Absolutely. So you know what? This is pretty much all the time. I don't really want to go, but Instagram's gonna make me go because generally an Instagram live session is 1 hour, and I don't want to be in the middle of a talk with Lisa or like she's singing a song and then my phone will tell me that you got 30 seconds left, and I'd hate for that to happen. So here's my promise to all of you watching right now. I promise you that I'll get Lisa back once this lockdown is over. We'll sit
Of
down
course.
beside each other and we'll talk a lot more. We'll get her to sing. I saw so
Absolutely.
many requests. I saw Tarifa and a whole bunch of other songs
And
that
I'll
Lisa has
perform
done. So
for Sajna again for Neha because she liked it.
yeah.
So do
No,
it
but
then
we'll
again.
do that. We'll definitely do that again very soon. But for tonight, this is pretty much all the time I have for now. We had three fantastic guests today. We had the amazing Kavita Sid, we had Clinton Cerejo, and that there is Lisa Mishra. Thank you, Lisa, again for being here with me.
Thank you for
Subscribe to
having me,
Viral
Mihir.
Originals. Follow her on Instagram. I'm Mihir Joshi Music here on Instagram. Subscribe to the MJ Show as well. And you can catch this episode tomorrow on the MJ Show YouTube channel. But for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. Stay at home. Stay safe. That's Lisa Mishra. I'm Mihir Joshi saying good night.
Stay safe, everyone. Good night.